Hi everybody, Alex here from Expert4x, and in today's video I'm going to cover the crash that happened in our trading competitions that we are running at the moment. I'm also going to be looking at how you can avoid those crashes that have happened to these unfortunate competition participants. So just to let you know that we are running a $7,000 trading competition, and it is a 10-week competition, and we are in the last 2 weeks of this competition, and we've had fantastic results up until this week. But this week has changed it all. Here are some examples from charts from last week's trading, and they show incredible volatility. If you look here, here's the pound yen. It went from there to there, 400 pips, 400 pip movement in only a day and a half. Then it did a double top and went down 300 pips. So 400 pips up, 300 pips down. Huge volatility. The Canadian dollar, same thing, not as much as the pound yen, but it went down 150 pips and then went up for 150 pips. Then the pound itself, pound went up 120 pips and then went down 230 pips. And then we had the yen that went up almost 300 pips, 290, and then came down 150 and then went up 150. So the volatility levels last week were incredible. They were wild, and that caused quite a shake-up in our competition. Now, this is the video I made last week about the status of the competition and how you can spy on the traders that are doing well. And here were the results last week. The leading trader was 50,000, which means that trader made a 40,000 profit, and that is a 400%, as I mentioned, the gain. And then the others are not far behind. So we had that kind of profile coming in, 46,000, 34,000, 34,000, and those were the leaders last week. But as a result of that volatile market, let's have a look at the leaders this week. And before we look at the leaders this week, I need to just give you an overview of how competitors in these competitions trade. They use a very special strategy, and let's have a look at the strategy. Firstly, they enter as many entries as they possibly can. This competition's got a 5-entry limit, but if one of your accounts fail, you are allowed to replace it. So what these traders do is they enter as many entries as they possibly can. They withdraw accounts that aren't doing well, replace them with better ones, and so on. So that's the one strategy you always have to do when you're entering competitions: enter as many entries as you possibly can. Secondly, they trade very, very aggressively. Because it's demo accounts and because they're in a competition, they have to use highly aggressive settings. And this is what caught most of the traders last week, is because they were using highly aggressive settings. That volatility caused a lot of margin calls and a lot of reduction in profits. And then, as I've mentioned before, what you do is you replace failed accounts with new ones. Now, there are only 2 weeks left in this competition, but those returns that are leading at the moment can be achieved using this formula that I'm showing you now. So you could even start entering this week's competition and still win it, although there are only 2 weeks of a 10-week competition left. So get your entries in and go for it. You've got nothing to lose. Here's this week's leaderboard. As you can see, the leading amounts have halved, and here you have 26%, which is only a 160% return. I say only, but it's still a very good return. 150% return, 120% return, and so on. But you can see that the leaderboard has literally halved. What that has done is that allowed a lot of traders that are just behind the leaders to attack those leaders. So we now have a psychological battle going to happen here. What do the leaders do? Do they put their foot on the petrol, or do they just consolidate their position? And what do the people at the bottom here? They have nothing to lose. They can throw everything at it to try and pass those leaders. It's going to be a really exciting 2 weeks, the next 2 weeks, to see how psychologically these leaders and the attackers of the leaders play out in the next 2 weeks. Now, the other thing that you must learn from this experience is that you cannot use the settings that are used in competitions. We're constantly getting emails saying, gee, this guy made 400% return in only 8 weeks. How can you send us the settings? We want to use our settings. Those settings are the most dangerous settings. As I've explained, they are very aggressive. They are no-lose situation, because if the account bombs, they just replace it with another account. So these settings are highly dangerous. So then you ask, Alex, why are you running the competition? We're running the competition to show the potential of the EA when stretched to its extreme. And this crash is actually a lesson to everybody that shows you if you go for the flat out for the most biggest potential, you will have a high chance of crashing. So then you might ask, well, Alex, if I can't use these settings, which settings can I use? And that is a very good question, because we've actually dealt with that this week. So here is a video that I recently made where we make available 24 of the very best settings from our Link to Success service. Those settings are in the form of set files that you can download and so on. These settings are proven, and I'll show you why. They've been trading a long time, and also they are relatively safe. Now, I say relatively safe, so what I would say, they have been proven over a long time, but if you were to use them, you need to downscale the lot sizing just a fraction at first, and then upscale it if you're confident about the results. But these are clearly not competitive settings. These are settings that have been designed to work in the long run, and some of them have 2 years of track records. So there you are. Go and have a look at this video. Download these 24 of the best settings that we have, and they are much safer than any competition settings that you could ever get your hands on. And besides providing you with the very best settings that have worked over a very long time, we're also running a very special, which is an 80% off these key robots that are producing these great results. While this offer is going, I sincerely suggest that you make use of it, because you have a package deal then. You have fantastic robots and you have fantastic settings to go with those robots. Another way of earning money is to join the Link to Success service, and this is the service that generates these fantastic settings. And here you can see some of the settings that you could be looking at, where the robot is making 19%, 16%, 12%, 39%, and so on. So you can actually get fantastic results from joining this linking service and merely linking your trading account. It can be any broker account you wish to these particular trading robots, and experiencing exactly the same trades as what they are experiencing. So that's another way that you can do it. You don't have to own the robot, you just link to the linking service. And here you can see they've traded for quite a long time, 208 days and so on. Then the other alternative to make money is to join the MAM services that we now have running. We have 3 MAM services running. I've covered that in a recent video in the last 2 days. Please go and watch this video to get more ideas on how you can benefit from the trading of the MAM accounts. Now, all 3 of those items that I've mentioned before have used controlled risk. In other words, they have settings that are meant to be traded for the next 2 or 3 years. So the settings are designed to trade through all kinds of market conditions. And in this video that I've just shown, that you can still see on your screen, the MAM accounts have worked through those wild markets extremely well, and the results are shown in that video. Please go and watch it. And just to remind you, MAM is basically just pooling, lots of traders pooling their money and being traded by a money manager. I hope you've enjoyed this video and you've learned a little bit about the dangers of trying to copy competitive settings. They are dangerous, don't do that. And also the opportunity of actually finding relatively safe settings. They're not guaranteed. Market conditions can change at any time, but they have been proven over wild markets over the last 6 months to 2 years. Consider taking advantage of the 80% bundle that is currently on offer. Links to all the items mentioned in this video will be in the description of the video as well as in the commentary of the video. So from me, Alex Deploy, cheerio.